welcome back to Katrina's Creations Knitting Podcast. This is episode 21. I've been doing this for almost a half a year at this point, because I skipped a week or two in between there around Christmas. So, yeah, lots going on this week. We have someone coming to stay with us from Wednesday to Saturday. So next week there will not be a podcast because the room that I film in is also the room that they'll be using. It's also our guest room. So, yeah, I won't have a podcast next week, but I'll be up the following week, which will give me some time to put some things together. If you watched last week's podcast, you'll see that I designed a shawl, and it is available now on Ravelry, and I'm hoping to put together a knit-along. So I'm still in the works of working out the fine details with that and coupon codes and things. So the 2 weeks will give me a little bit of time to fine-tune that, and I'll let you know what's going on with it. In the meantime, if you do want to check out the shawl, to take a peek at it, because that's what we will be doing the knit-along with, you can find it on Ravelry under Katrina's Creations, all one word. You can look at the other projects I've done. I think I have 32 projects up there. It's not all of the projects I've ever made, but there's some of them that are up there that you can look at. But there's also a spot that says one pattern. If you click that, it will take you to the shawl, or you can search in just the general search box under patterns and type in banner unfurled, and it will come up there as well. So yeah, if you want to take a peek at it, the shawl does require 3 skeins of yarn, 175 yards each, and it is a sport to fingering weight. You can do it in any material you want to do it in, you know, cotton. Or, I did one in cotton, I did one in merino, so that all depends on what you are looking for, but that is what we're going to do the knit-along on, and like I said, I'll have the information on it a little more detailed in 2 weeks when I have the next podcast. So in the meantime, what have I been up to? I have gotten some progress done on my works in progress, so let me show you. I had told you I needed to order some more yarn for my fade because somehow I was running out, and I underestimated, I don't know what I did. I think I read the first yardage for the couple colors and just assumed it was the same all the way through. I don't know. I had to buy more yarn. So this came in. This is Sunseeker. The ball band fell off. You can see it's got sparklies in it. This is the color I'm now working on. I had 1 skein of this, and I'm currently working on it, but I was afraid I'd run out, so I bought a second one. And I'm still waiting for this to come in, but it is this color here. It's showing up pretty true to color. I needed another one of these, and it says it is bamboo cotton cashmere. I knit with this a lot. You can get it really cheap on eBay for like a couple of dollars. I couldn't even tell you, because I can't read Chinese, I could not even tell you what the yardage is. It's roughly around 200 yards, I think, in this, give or take. And I do have some of this in lace weight as well, but this, you can kind of see, it's probably like a sport to fingering weight. And it's really, really soft. I do like it. It does tend to be a little thready, but it's really, really soft. So let me show you my fade. And this is the Sunseeker that's balled up at this point. And I'm right in the middle of a row. To be able to show you is difficult, but anyway, you can see the little marker. That's where I was last week. And I have done, I don't want my stitches to come off. There we go. You can see I'm now up into the turquoise section right up in here. So I'll get this a little closer so you can see. I didn't have as much of the fade area, which is right in here. Usually there's a lot more stripes, like you can see down in this section where it fades from one color to the next. There's a few more stripes. I literally ran out of this. In fact, I was like this much short on the row. So thankfully, where it changed color, this color had some of this color in it, so I was able to just kind of thread that into the end, and it worked. So yeah, this is my fade so far. There's the beginning. There's the second color. This is the third color. And this is the fourth color. This is a turquoise. And this is showing pretty true to color. It doesn't have a name. It doesn't have a name for it. There's a number. None of these had really any names on them, but this is like a khaki and a sage. And this has sage in it, and it has yellow and turquoise and like an olive green and kind of a creamy yellow. And then this is turquoise up top here, even though it looks kind of blue. It is turquoise. It's showing up pretty close. So, yeah, so I'm going to be doing a lot of this because I'm going to have to fill some of this in towards the next color, so it won't have as much of a fade going into the next color, just to try to make up for the difference, because the next color it goes into I couldn't find any more of. So I don't know if it's discontinued or what, but I couldn't find any, so I'm having to adjust a little bit. So then I have done some work on the Spice Market. I am using, this yarn is so soft. It is my main color is Ella Rae Cozy Soft, and it is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. So it is washable, and it's so soft. And the other yarn that I'm using, if you watched my other podcast, earlier ones, I cut apart a chromatic knitting fever skein of yarn, and I didn't bring that upstairs with me, but anyway, I cut it apart and used the separate colors to form the colors for down here. And the knitting fever, here's the ball band from it, knitting fever chromatic, and it just has a dye lot number. It's color number 1007. And it is 85% acrylic and 15% wool. And it is spun as it's a single. It doesn't have any plies. It says it's fine, but when I look at it, to me, it looks more like a sport weight. So anyway, this is what my on the Spice Market looks like. And again, it's on the needles, and I'm in the middle of a row, so I can't show you the entire thing opened up. But here's where I left off last week. So I have done from here on up. So roughly around, probably about 4 inches. So let me back up a little bit so you can see the full effect. You start with these lighter colors, and then it gradually goes to the darker. And then when you get to this part, it starts taking these colors and going back. So this color is this color is this color, this color is this color, and I'm now working on this color. And I've just started it, and this is what it looks like. So that is my On the Spice Market. And like I said, it's really, really soft. So I think I'm going to enjoy it. In fact, my husband and I just went shopping at Walmart. I bought t-shirts to match my shawls. Yeah. I've got so many shawls, but I love them. They're fast, they're easy knits. They're a lot more user-friendly than knitting a sweater, and I don't know, I like them, and so I tend to go with solid colors so that I can, although you never know looking at this that I go with solid colors, but if I'm not wearing a solid colored shirt and a multicolored scarf, then I tend to wear a colored shirt and a monochromatic scarf. So, yeah, because I never know if I'm going to be hot or cold or whatever. It's a menopausal thing. You just never know. Today, I thought I have done some spinning. So let me show you what I'm spinning, and then I thought I would give a short little instructional thing on spinning. This is what I have made, and let's see if I can get it to show up. That's pretty close. I don't know what this is going to fluff out to once it's called a bloom. When you finally finish spinning something and you put it into a skein form, or a hank where you kind of get it into the loop before you twist it into a skein, you soak it in water. You get it tied so it's not going to get all tangled up. But at that point, like when you've finished spinning, you're going to have it tied like this. This is what you dye it in as well. You tie it so it's not going to come undone, and this is what you dye your yarn in, is the hanks like this. You're going to do the same thing with spinning. When you finish and you take it off the bobbin, you're going to put it into something like this, and you're going to get it wet. And the purpose of getting it wet is it sets the twist so that it doesn't untwist on you. But at that time, it also has what's called a bloom, which means that the yarn kind of fluffs up. So I don't know exactly how much this is going to fluff up. The last yarn that I made from the same fiber, it was different color. It's actually for sale in my Etsy shop. I spun it and plied it together. It's a 2-ply, and when I initially spun it, I thought it was, and plied it together, I thought it was going to come out as a fingering weight. Once it got soaked and it bloomed, it's more worsted weight. I mean, it really fluffed up a lot, so I'm thinking this will too. This is being spun as a single, even though it looks it looks almost like it's plied, because you can see that it's got different colors looping through there. I'm going to show you how I did that. But it is a single, which means that it's one single cord. I didn't like twist and ply them together. So let me explain what I'm talking about. This yarn is made up of rovings. When you get rovings, they look like this. They come in a big long bundle, like the yarn I showed you last week, like this. And you can see how thick the roving is. It's, you know, you can get your finger around it, but it's pretty thick. So then you take, in fact, here's some that's coming apart, so you can kind of get an idea of how thick it can be. I separate them. I could just take this, pull it off the entire roving, the full thickness, and spin it just like this. And then I could take this color and spin it all like this. And I could take this color and spin it all like this. And then spin them together, and I would have 3 plies. Or, I'm picking up fuzz, or I could spin them together and get something like this, which is kind of what I'm doing. Okay? Or if I spun them all, and this is what I will be doing with some wool that I have. It's like 3 different shades of red, and I have another one, I think it's 3 different shades of purple, and another one, I think, of green, where I would start with the light color, spin all of the light color, then move to this one, spin all of it together, and then spin all of this. So if I did it like this and then started back with the pink again, it would be a gradient. I mean, a variegated. So a lot depends on what you do prep-wise with your yarn. In the case of this, what I'm doing is I've stripped my roving, which means I've taken a section of the pink, about this long, and I split it into 4s, so that this is 1/4 of the roving of that section. I did the same for the other colors. Then you put them all together. So that part's called stripping. Then you can do what's called pre-drafting, where you put all 3 of these together and you start gently pulling them, almost like you would saltwater taffy. And let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like when I have gotten it pre-drafted. This was a section of fiber the same length as what I just showed you until I pre-drafted it. And as you can see, it's much, much thinner. The colors are kind of blended into each other a little. See there, you can see the pink. You can still see some of the turquoise right in here. And then over on this side, you can see some of the multicolored. But it's now probably about 4 or 5 feet long altogether. So that when I spin this, I don't have as big a bulk of material to try to spin. So that's what's going to go into the spinning wheel. And it's going to twist, and that's where it's coming out looking basically like that. So it all depends you can make your finished fiber look totally different depending on what you do with it before you start spinning it. So, and I'm by no means the expert at all on spinning. I've been spinning for years, but I don't do anything fancy. Not like some of these more experienced knitters. If you really want to watch a good knitter, watch Snappy Stitches. I believe her name's Christine. She's very, very good. She's got several different wheels, and she does talk about spinning a lot. So if you really, really want to learn more about spinning, that would be a podcast to check out. Another podcast I've been watching lately that I discovered was a lady named Christine Kelly. She does, I think her podcast is listed under Christine Kelly, but it's called UEWE, University. And she actually does, it's almost like watching Consumer Reports for knitting and weaving and spinning and all that kind of thing. She does a lot of reviews on things. I watched her do a segment on knitting needles, and I think she took like 10 different types of interchangeable knitting needles and actually used calipers and measured the degree of the point. So they were rated. She then rated the knitting needles based on how sharp the point was, how flexible the tubing, the cord between the needles was, whether the needles spun where the connectors were, because she said she had problems with the cord getting tangled, and I have the same problem. They talked about, the connectors itself, where they connect to the tubing, how smooth is it, how much drag was on the needles, depending on whether they were made from metal or from carbon or plastic or wood. So it was really interesting. She did a general review and rated each of the knitting needles that she reviewed. And she does that on a lot of the products. There's one up there right now on your yarn winders. She's done some on wool washes. So she's an interesting one to check out. I just discovered her, and so I'm still playing catch up. And so that would be one to take a look at. And let's see, acquisitions. I bought some yarn again. So it hasn't come in yet, but I'll be able to show it to you in 2 weeks. But I will tell you a little bit about it. I went on to W.I.P.s, and I want to start designing another project. I've really enjoyed the project that I did for that shawl. So it is going to be another shawl, but it's going to be a larger one. So I bought I think it's 213 yards of each color. And I bought like a creamy color, like a creamy, real pale, almost cream color. And then I bought 3 different shades of like light yellow up to a gold, because I want to do it like a gradient. And then I'm not sure which color I'm going to put with it. I bought a navy blue, and I bought kind of a burgundy pomegranate type of color. So once the yarn comes in, I'll have to look at it and see which little pop of color I want to put in there. I love blue and yellow together, but I don't know, I might put a burgundy with this. I'm not sure. So I bought the burgundy and the blue. It's like, I'll just have extra yarn. Another project, yeah. But, yeah, so once the yarn comes in and I look at it, I'll take a peek and see which one I think is going to look better. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I haven't decided what exactly I'm doing with the shawl. I've got some ideas. But when the yarn comes in, I will be able to get started on that. And I guess that takes us down to our book recommend for this week. And last week I did a series about pizza. And it was written by an author named Chris Cavender. Chris Cavender writes under several different names, one of which is Jessica Beck. So this is a series. It's called the Classic Diner series. This is the first in the series. And it is a husband and wife, Greg and Victoria, And they run a diner that she took over for her grandfather. It's called the Charming Moose Diner. And her grandfather, even though he doesn't run it anymore and he's handed the business off to his granddaughter, he still comes in and gets his foot in the middle of things. And the granddaughter and the grandfather end up solving the mysteries together. The lady, her name, like I said, her name is Victoria. Her husband does all the cooking and she does the waitressing, and then they have some extra help. Her mother comes in and helps. So it's like a whole big family affair. So it's a cute series. They're not a real thick book, as you can see. It's not real thick, and I think this is even, it's not large type. But anyway, it's a cute series. There are recipes in the back, and actually one of my patrons at the library is the one that told me about this series, because it turns out she has the same taste in reading I do. So if I'm not recommending books to her, she's recommending books to me. And she actually made copies of some of the recipes and tried them out and then passed them on to me. So yeah, there's a chili recipe in here. The same author does a series about donut making. How can you go wrong with donuts? You know, there's donut recipes in the back. It's like, you got to read that. It says donuts. So that will be the one that we talk about when I come back in 2 weeks, will be the donut series. But this again is called the Classic Diner series. And it was really cute. It is a finished, a completed series, and I think there is a total of maybe 7 books in the series. Doesn't tell here because, like I said, this was the first of the series, but I think there's like 6 or 7 in the series. So it is really cute. This one's called A Chilly Death, and check it out. See if you don't enjoy it. So I think that finishes up. This is a relatively short podcast today, but again, next week there will be no podcast. It'll start again in 2 weeks. And I will hopefully have all the more information about our knit-along that we're going to have. And there will be prizes, of course. We're going to have prizes. So, speaking of prizes, just to let you all know, the prize winner from the giveaway from last week did claim her prize. She should have it by now. I know I checked U.S.P.S. and they said it was delivered yesterday. So it took me a couple days to get it out to her. I don't know why my YouTube's doing a few weird things right now, but her message, I told her message me, and for some reason I kept checking the new messages and it didn't show up there. It showed up in my sent messages. So she had left a comment that she had messaged me, and so when she said that, I thought, well, I wonder where that message is. So I started clicking through everything, and when then I found it in the sent messages of all places. So anyway, it did go out to her. She did claim it, and she should have received it by now. At least it was delivered to the location. So appreciate everybody participating in that giveaway. And hopefully you'll want to participate in the knit-along. I've never done one before. I have participated in some, and they're a lot of fun. It's always neat to see everybody's projects when they're all knitted up, just to see what they look like, to see the same pattern done in all different colors. I think it's fascinating just to see how different things can look. And speaking about different, is one of my subscribers, Cheryl, she and I have been chatting back and forth in Ravelry. Etsy, back and forth, because she actually bought some of the yarn that is the same color lot as the one that was given away. And she sent me a picture yesterday of, I told her, I said, when you find something to knit it up, because I haven't seen what it looks like when it's knitted. So she sent me a picture last night of a fingerless mitt that she did, and it turned out gorgeous. She does a good job with her knitting. And I think if I remember rightly, the cuff part and up top here were done in the purple, and then this section here was done in the multicolor, and there might have been the pink mixed in with it too, because it was a 3-color lot that she got. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you again, Cheryl, for posting that. It was exciting to see what it looks like when it's knitted. who knows if the rest of it doesn't get bought, I might be knitting it up. I don't know. So there is some still there's one more lot of the sock weight, or sock weight or sport weight, that is left in the Etsy shop. Otherwise, there are bundles of 5 that are pretty much the same colors, but they're in a lace weight, and there's more yardage to them. So anyway, I think that is the end of it. And again, I will see you in 2 weeks, not next week, 2 weeks. And I hope you have a great couple weeks of knitting. And hopefully when I come back, I will have finished projects. It is my goal to try to finish up this On the Spice Market and my Find Your Fade, because I really want to get into my bendy arrows, because it's pink and it's gray and it would be perfect for spring. So I really want to get into it. It would be nice to start on that. And I've seen other different podcasters. It seems like when I first bought bendy arrows, nobody else was doing it. I didn't see any other podcasters doing it. Now I've heard Cherry Pearl's podcast. I had recommended it to the daughter, Robin, because she and I had chatted back and forth, because we were both doing dragon felts at the same time. And except hers turned out much prettier. And so I had told her about the bendy arrow. So then she did the bendy arrow, and hers looks really, really pretty. And then we were both, it was funny, because I'd said, I'm doing it on the Spice Market. And I think she talked about doing it on the Spice Market too. But it was funny, because it seemed like we were both of us were doing the same shawls. So after seeing her bendy arrow, I want to get started on mine. And I like gray and pink together, so I can hardly wait to get started. So that being said, and I keep thinking one of the grocery girls is doing bendy arrow as well. Somebody else is doing a bendy arrow too. But it's like now there's several people doing the bendy arrow. So there's a new trend starting, I guess. And that is by Charlotte Bory, if you want to check it out. And she does have a podcast called Charlotte and Gus is the cat. So it's very enjoyable to watch as well. So I am going to say goodbye now, for real this time, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.